Hi, I'm Ryan Moore, and I'm the practice lead for the executive search business here at Peak Sales Recruiting. And today we're going to talk to you about how to add a sales plan presentation into your VP of Sales hiring process. When we talk about adding a sales presentation into your hiring process, there are really three reasons why you want to do this. The first reason is that you get to see the candidate through your company's lens or in your company's context. This means they're going to put together a presentation and how they envision it applying to your company. And you're going to get to see them move through that process and what they think they can bring to your organization and planning. The second piece is you're going to get to see them in action. This is the hard piece to figure out when you're recruiting for VP level is where's the leadership or how is the leadership going to play out and how does it integrate into your current team? This gives you an ability to see that in action. And the last piece is this helps you transition into onboarding. So this plan that you've had that your VP create, you're able to then take that and start to implement it and you help them implement it into their onboarding process. When you're using a sales plan presentation as part of your VP hiring, what you want to do is make sure it's the final step in the process. This way you've whittled it down to the few candidates that you think are optimal as opposed to putting a whole bunch of people through the same process. It's also extremely time consuming from an executive perspective. So when you do get to this point, the one thing you want to make sure you're doing is outlining the expectations, not only to your candidates coming through in terms of what you want to see in the plan and that their assumptions are being clearly laid out, but you also want your team to understand what we're trying to extract out of this. Any additional information that you think a candidate is going to need to be able to put a plan together properly can all be provided to the candidate via prompt. So there's a couple different ways you can look at these prompts. You can either go the route of providing them minimal information and hope that they extracted a lot out of your process in terms of how they want to go with their plan, or you want to see full creativity. Where are they going to go with a plan and how do they think they can improve the organization? Or you're going to give them a very concrete piece of data that's going to help them put together that plan and implement it through. You're also going to want to make sure that candidates know it's okay to make assumptions. At this point, they don't know all the ins and outs of your organization, so they're going to make a bunch of assumptions. As long as they note those assumptions in the presentation, everything can move smoothly. Internally, when you're creating the panel that's going to help sit in and assess these presentations, you want to think about who do they interact with the most. So is it that there needs to be a VP of marketing, a VP of product development, customer service, yourself as the owner or CEO who they report directly into? Think about who they interact with on a daily basis. Those should be the few key people that sit on this sales presentation. This presentation, again, should not have a massive group in the panel. You should try to limit that, again, to 3 to 4 people sitting in on the panel. And the final element when starting to implement these plans into your hiring process is think about a scoring system. Because you're going to do these, and you'll likely have to do them over multiple days because of the length, you want to come up with a scoring system that makes sense for your organization. I like to keep them simple, scoring them on a 0 to 10. 7 and above are essentially the plans that you feel you could move forward with. Those are the highest rated ones, and those are the ones that took note of all of the strategic objectives, moved them through a plan, mesh well with the rest of your executive team, and look like something that you would be implementing into your business. Again, optimal, a perfect 10 is fantastic, that they drove everything that you're looking for out of a plan and more. And the final piece to these plans, and this is where I think a lot of people forget or neglect to use these, is you've had your candidate go through all this work to create a plan for you. Likely took them a few hours to generate it, do some research, create the structure. Don't throw the plan away. Use the plan to help support onboarding. The candidates got natural buy-in now because they created this plan and they thought it was a plan that they could believe in and that they could implement in your organization. Now, if you provide them with the extra data that they didn't have to help refine the plan and put all those pieces into play, it'll help expedite their onboarding. And it also gets natural buy-in to the organization and the executive team is this plan isn't new. They've all heard it before and your future sales leader helped create it. I know this sounds like a lot of extra work in your interviewing process and pulling in a lot of extra resources from the organization, but this is a step that can make a significant difference in picking and selecting the right hire for your organization and having that hire stick long term.